Hello everyone, it's time for Good Week Israel, where we will give you ILTV's latest positive highlights. So get ready to smile because coming up, Eurovision 2021 is back and Israel's long-awaited song choice has been set free. Meanwhile, Little League baseballers from Israel and Dubai team up on the pitch. And finally, we explore the concept of preconceived notions with Rabbi Shlomo Farhi from kosher.com. Now, Eurovision was down, but certainly not out after being postponed to later this year in light of coronavirus. And Israel's top song pick for this year's competition has finally been, quote-unquote, set free. Israeli media announcing that Set Me Free will now be the song performed by the country's 2021 contestant, 20-year-old Ethiopian-Israeli Eden Alene, the first Israeli of Ethiopian descent to represent the Jewish state at the international contest. And along with the announcement also comes, of course, the release of the first official music video for the song, featuring Eden and a backup dance troupe. Back to the competition, though, the first semi-final performance is now scheduled for May 18th in Rotterdam, with the finals set for May 22nd. In other news, a new report from money.co.uk, a UK-based price comparison group, is naming Tel Aviv as the 6th healthiest city on the planet, behind cities in Spain, Portugal, Austria, and Australia. And meanwhile, the northern city of Haifa is taking 12th place on the listing. So how did we do it? Well, the rating is based in part on obesity rates, pollution, food prices, safety, hours of sunlight, and general life expectancy. And it's largely believed that Israel placed high due to our Israeli Mediterranean diet, which translates to lower obesity levels and a life expectancy of roughly 83 years. As for the diet itself, it largely consists of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, moderate portions of dairy, very limited intake of red meat, and weekly intake of fish, poultry, beans, and eggs, cooked in healthy fats like olive oil. That said, Israel still only ranks 88th overall in the healthiest country index out of 169 different nations. The United States, by comparison, is ranking in 35th. Now, speaking of food, Naomi from kosher.com shares with us the recipe of a delicious top-of-the-rib roast. Take a look.
Hi everyone, I am so excited to be here with Shifra Klein. She's the editor-in-chief of Fleischix magazine along with her husband, and we are so excited to have you on the set today. Welcome to Sunny Side Up.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to cooking this roast with you.
Okay, so what have we got going today?
Okay, so today we're making a baharat and fig top of the rib roast.
Well, sounds like that's perfect for Rosh Hashanah.
Perfect for Rosh Hashanah, perfect for fall. Actually, baharat in Arabic means spice blend.
Cool.
And it varies depending if it's from Turkey or
Can I smell
from
it?
different regions. Yeah, go for it. It's like a combination of cumin, cloves. There's a little bit of paprika. It's a really great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's widely available, but you could also make your own.
Okay,
So,
this smells really.
yeah, it's a great spice blend, and it just goes really well with the figs.
Very
and
seasonal.
it's very full, so it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get cooking. What's the
Okay,
first
so
thing?
the first thing you do is preheat your pan. You want it to be really hot.
Which we've
Anytime
done.
you cook meat or even food, just like when you bake, you preheat. You do the same thing for meat. It makes a very big difference.
Okay,
So
what's
now
up
that the pan
first?
is hot, we'll get our oil in. We're using grapeseed oil. It's a great oil for high heat cooking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, it's always good to know.
And
these
it's a
kind of
healthier
things.
option. So that's why we're using it in this recipe today. And then we will quickly just season the roast with a baharat.
Okay, so
Sprinkle some of the baharat
Very-
on top of
am
the
I
roast.
being very
Yeah, be very
generous?
generous. These spices also, we're coating the meat. The spices are gonna toast with the meat. As we sear the meat, the spices are also gonna cook. Everything we're doing in this recipe is about building flavor. So when you sear the roast, you get that Maillard reaction, you get that brownness on the top. So it gives you an amazing texture. You just get a much better chew on the meat, but it also enhances the flavor of the meat, hands down. Doing those few extra steps make a huge difference.
Okay, so I think I've done this on both sides.
Yes, the pan is really hot, so be careful when you put it in.
Okay, all right, here we go.
It smells so good already. I
Right,
smell the
smell.
baharat.
Okay,
Oh
here we
my
go.
God.
1, 2, 3. Listen to that sizzle.
Gorgeous.
Oh,
That's amazing.
Cooking is with all your senses. You know,
Oh,
you
totally.
smell it, you see it, you taste it, you hear it.
100%.
That sizzle's awesome.
That's what I love about cooking. It's just such an interactive, immersive experience.
Yeah.
I
Your
love
whole
it.
body's
Yeah.
involved.
Exactly.
I love it.
exactly. And it just smells like fall in here. And Yom Tov, like,
Ah,
wow,
I'm ready, I'm ready.
so good. Another tip to know when it's ready, by the way, if you take your tongs
Oh, good.
and it's still a little stuck to the pan, you know that it's not ready to flip.
I always
so
say-
when there's resistance, don't flip.
So I always say the pan is speaking to you. If it
That's a good
sticks,
one.
the pan is saying, slow down, Naomi. Team effort here.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
That's what you were looking
Gorgeous.
for.
This is a cut. The top of the rib is a great cut of meat. It's a great alternative to brisket. It's a great cut for Yom Tif. It cooks low and slow. You could freeze it. It freezes so
Oh,
well.
I love tips like that. We can prep
Yeah,
ahead and freeze it. We
exactly.
can cook this now and serve it on Yom Tov.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's even the type of roast that like tastes better tomorrow and the next day.
Oh, the concentration of flavors. We're going to grab our like an oven to tableware
Oven
dish.
to table dish, any 9x13 dish that fits the roast is going to work here.
Okay, so now I'm
So
going
you
to
transfer it into the pan.
It's
I can hold it.
lifting up.
I'm your,
You
I'm your
holding it.
assistant. Yeah. This is why it's fun to cook together.
see both sides
Gorgeous.
are done. I'm at 2 hands. Ah, voila. Okay, I'm going to pop
Gorgeous.
this
You
here.
set that aside, and now we're going to build the sauce.
Okay.
So
I
the
love
sauce
sauce.
starts with some onion. We're just going to get the onion in the pan. I'll just throw it in. And you just want to cook the onion until you're not really like frying it. You're sort of cooking it until it's translucent.
Right, like
and
sweating
soft.
and
yeah,
wet.
you're sweating it. Sprinkling a little bit of salt on the onions also helps the onions cook a little faster. So you see the onions developing a color. It's not frying, it's just picking up the flavor of the spices and the meat that it was searing in, which is really wonderful.
Spices have their own oils, so we are
That's
releasing those oils into the onions as well.
Yeah. So the onions got some color.
Yeah, I like this brown.
A little bit of color is fine. Doesn't really matter. And now we're going to add the garlic.
So we're doing
and
sliced
then-
garlic?
Yeah, so we have
Not
a few
crushed?
No, sliced garlic because it's going to braise for a very long time. So it sort of like falls apart in the sauce.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's a great cooking tip for everyone. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah. Then we're going to put about a cup of dried figs.
Okay, whole dried
Whole
figs.
dried figs.
Now, figs are very in season round Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah. Look how the figs are, even already now, starting to plump up.
Yeah.
And as they cook, the figs are going to come to life.
They're plumping
Yeah.
up with the sweat and flavor of the onions and bahara.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
And then we're going to add wine and chicken stock, so it's going to really get reconstituted.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me.
Yes,
I could just like go like this right now.
totally. And then what we're going to add is just 2 tablespoons of tomato paste.
I am
And-
like
yeah.
beaming. I'm sorry.
And this is going to give body to the sauce and just like a subtle, it's not going to taste very tomatoey.
I love
Amazing.
this because
This
I
is
always
so
have these
cool.
unopened cans.
So convenient.
And like this is just the best.
So convenient. And then you just close it back up and it's going to last you your whole Yom Tov season. So that's great. But the tomato paste you want to cook for about 3 to 5 minutes actually. You're toasting it, you're letting, again, building flavor. It's going to make a huge difference to the sauce. You see now it's like sort of like bright red. As it cooks, it's going to toast a bit and get a deeper color. That's what we're looking for. And you're sort of with the tomato and the wine and the silan, you're getting that like sweet and sour thing going, but it's with a different flavor profile. So the next step is to add some wine. We're using white wine.
Oh, I love this specific.
Oh, you like this wine? What do you like
love
about it?
It's
It's a
just-
great bottle.
It's just, I love
Nice.
Rieslings. It's just has a lot of bold, fruity flavors.
Yum.
And the
Which
tongue,
is actually
the tongue-
perfect for
tongue
this
tickles.
fruity roast.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pour that. I'm gonna pour that in. Again, you're gonna hear that sizzle.
Okay. Oh, baby. How much would you say about
It's
a cup?
1 to 2 cups. So
And then the rest, you kind of like finish off.
yeah,
that night for
totally.
dinner.
You don't want the roast to taste like wine. So you want to just like let it cook out and have the alcohol evaporate. So we're just gonna give that another few minutes.
So we just have the flavors left.
Exactly. Next,
next?
we have the silan. We're bringing more of that like, dried fruit flavor. So we're gonna put about a 1/4 cup, and that's gonna give the sweetness.
Look how dark it is as she pours it in.
Okay, so you can also put a little bit less or a little bit more if you like it a little sweeter. You could taste the sauce after. This is really cool, this silan. It's 100% date syrup. It has no added sugar. Then we're gonna put some herbs and chicken stock just to like, the thyme and the bay leaf are just gonna add like another layer of flavor to the sauce.
Folding our flavors out.
Yes. And now we're gonna add the chicken stock. We're gonna put about a cup. You could add if you see, what we wanna do with the liquid is we wanna add a little bit more. Just go for it.
Like the whole thing?
No, that's good.
This is about a cup.
That's about a cup. Yeah, a cup is good. It depends on the size of your roast. You don't want to completely submerge your roast in liquid. What we're doing today is really the technique that we're doing with this top of the rib is braising. And you want to make sure that the liquid comes to about 1/2 to 3/4 way. You don't need it to be completely submerged.
Or else it's boiling.
Exactly. Okay, so we just pour that over the roast and then cover the roast.
Okay, I'm gonna need your help.
Yes, we're gonna do it together.
Okay.
Just pour that over the roast.
See, it's halfway.
Yeah.
Should the onions be on the side or over the top? Like move them
Move that around. It already looks, how gorgeous does it look already?
Stunning.
Yeah.
Okay, see you later. We're gonna cook this for how long?
You must cover it. Cook it for 3 hours on 350.
3 hours at 350?
Yes.
Okay. 3 hours later.
Literally.
Literally. We've let it cool and we're ready to slice.
Yeah, we're ready to slice. It's very important that it should be cold. Like you want to maybe put it in the fridge even overnight. Because you know that makes a big difference with the slicing. So when you're slicing such a roast, like a brisket or a top of the rib, you look at the grains of the roast and then you slice against those grains.
So here it goes.
Sort of like lines.
Grains.
Yeah.
So you go this way.
Exactly.
Why don't you show us?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna turn it this way because I don't know why, it just helps me visualize the slicing. So you see how gorgeous it is?
Oh my God, look how juicy that is.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the top does look a little bit dry because we took it out of the sauce, but we're gonna put it back into the warm sauce.
Right, so people
and just
should not
heat it
worry
through.
if you see that it looks a little dry.
The meat is extremely tender.
Any meat that we cook slow will work on this cut of meat.
Yeah, totally. The sauce is nice and warm.
Is that a trick to reheat the sauce?
Well, I was just making the process go quicker while I was slicing the roast. You may as well get the sauce going, you know?
Okay, fantastic.
So I'm just gonna put the meat, like nestle it into the sauce.
Watch this.
Oh wow, that's pretty.
Grab it with a knife in your finger.
But isn't it cool to see like the gorgeous slices you get simply by just waiting? Look at those figs. Look how they pumped up.
Beautiful. That's the dried fig that we put in?
That's the dried fig.
Chef Ra, that's amazing. It's like rehydrated in all those incredible meat juices with the onion.
And do you see the color? Like you see the color difference? That's because we seared the meat.
Right, yeah.
So all those little things really do add up at the end. You want to take it next level, make a gremolata.
Okay.
A gremolata is like an Italian sort of topping, traditionally made with parsley, garlic, lemon zest.
Okay.
Here we're going to change it up a little bit. We have parsley, fresh mint. Because
I knew I could smell
yeah,
something.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? The aroma. I'm trying to like go with the flavors that are in the roast. So there's like Baharat, it's Middle Eastern. So I'm just going to chop up the herbs together to create like this like fresh herb salad almost. Like that's what I think of gremolata, like a herb salad. Because of that Middle Eastern theme, we're gonna take our fresh herbs and we're gonna mix it with pistachios.
How much?
You could put all that in.
All of that?
Yeah, why not? And then we're gonna add some orange zest and a little bit of orange juice.
So this is a microplane. I totally recommend every household gets one. And it just gets the zest and not the pith, which is the white, between the bitterness between the white and the peel, the white and the flesh, really.
Then we're gonna just juice a little bit of that in. So you're just gonna get this like bright, fresh,
oh my
delicious, like sort of topping. And then we can drizzle in some olive oil.
Okay, say when.
Go for it.
A lot, a
Look
little.
how colorful that is.
It's stunning.
It's really
stunning.
nice. Okay, that's good.
Salt? Do we add salt?
And we could add a pinch of salt.
Okay.
And then just give it a mix. And then this becomes the topping for the roast.
Okay, here we go. I got 3 slices here.
Nice. Okay, you spread it out. Get some of the onions and the figs. Gorgeous. Stunning.
Where shall I lay it?
Anywhere.
All over?
Yeah, just go with whatever you feel.
Smother it.
And just get some gravy going all over.
All over the plate too, right?
Yeah. Here, that spot, like I feel like that needs gravy.
Yeah?
Yeah. Gorgeous.
Oh,
okay, and
amazing.
then we just put some of our gremolata on top.
Chef, you make everything look so beautiful.
Thank you. I mean, it's just like those little things, you know?
Yeah. Chef, editor-in-chief, founder, along with her husband, of Fleischix magazine, knows how to do a Fleischix piece.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what we do. And then you could just put the fresh figs. just to like really
Another
add
level.
something fresh. Yeah.
Next level. This recipe is so perfect for Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah, I mean, we invented it for Rosh Hashanah, so.
To get recipes like this and more, go to kosher.com.
All right, a new collaboration for kids is in the works. Israel's national youth baseball team for ages up to 12 is partnering up with Dubai's Little League for a revolutionary event where the only common language is baseball. Take a look.
Israeli baseball is booming. Young Israeli kids in towns, cities, and even in Arab villages are falling in love with the game, carrying on America's favorite pastime to a new generation and a new continent. But now even more exciting is a partnership between a Little League team in Israel and its counterpart in Dubai.
I fell in love with baseball when I was about 6 or 7 when I went to a Yankee game. And it's a great honor to play for Israel wearing blue and white. And I can't wait to meet new kids from a different culture.
And meeting their friends in jerseys and more is set to happen in the near future.
These 12-year-old kids behind me are going to Dubai for the first time in the history of Israel. We're sending a baseball team, a national team, to Dubai to play sports there, to play baseball there, together with our Olympic team that is qualified for the first time for the Olympics in July in Tokyo. We're going to be making history.
And their ultimate dream? Inspiring unity through the love of baseball across the region. His Excellency Saeed Mohammed Hareb, Dubai Sports Council Secretary General, stating, "I cannot think of anything better than to have children represent the bright future that we look forward to growing together." National teams of both countries are set to compete in an event appropriately called the Unity Cup in the coming fall of 2021. Little League teams from other Gulf countries are invited to participate as well. Chana Rifkin, ILTV.
And finally, Rabbi Shlomo Farhi from kosher.com explores the concept of preconceived notions, where they come from, and how do we know if we can really trust our own thoughts. Watch this.
Can you ever really trust what you see? The Jewish people moved to a new country, and very quickly, there's a lot of them. Paro turns to his advisors and says what is going to be a historic statement. Hava nitchak malo. From the very first time the Jewish people are called a nation, the very first time we find the word am in the Torah, when they move from a family to a people, that's when we hear the very first anti-Semitic trope. Paro says we need to outsmart these Jews because if there's any more of them, you know what's going to happen? They're going to join in with our enemies when a war comes our way, and they're going to drive us out of the land of Egypt. Why would he think that? These are a people he's given safe haven to in his country, given them food, given them a place to live. Why would he think they were so ungrateful? In the Haggadah it says, Vayareu otanu hamitzrim, and the Egyptians did bad to us. But there's another interpretation. Vayareu otanu hamitzrim could mean that the Egyptians made us out to be bad. Why would we do that? Why would we be such kind of citizens? And yet we find that that's what they were certain we were. The truth is, this is not the first nor the last time that that's going to happen to our people. I remember leading a trip to Poland, and we went to a site, the site of the killing grounds of Chelmno. And there you have a small museum where they have some of the artifacts that they dug up that belonged to the people that the Nazis killed there. And I was shocked because amongst the trinkets and amongst the jewelry was a cross indicating Germany's highest Medal of Honor for people who served in World War I. They were killing people as traitors who were once their greatest heroes. How could such a thing happen? You see, this is an example that happens in people's lives all the time. We think that we see stories, people, scenarios, then we draw conclusions from those stories, and then we decide how we act. But actually, most often it works the other way around. We decide beforehand what we think the story actually is. And only through that bias, called confirmation bias, do we interpret that which we see. Both the Germans and Paro had already decided that these people were a threat to them. That's the narrative that they already bought. As the Jews had more children, Paro turned the size of their population into a threat, because if they're people that you're threatened by, more of them is obviously a bigger threat. If these are people who were once honorable, then probably they're using the power that they have to attack us from the inside. You can turn any story on its head based on what it is that you want to believe. I remember hearing the most incredible story, which illustrated this point perfectly. This well-dressed woman gets on a plane, and she sits down and reaches in between the seat where she had put her box of cookies. She picks up the box and starts eating cookie, and then all of a sudden the man sitting next to her, he's not really dressed so well, his clothing is a bit shabby, he reaches into the box and takes a cookie for himself. She gives him the evils. The guy's not getting the hint. Each time she takes a cookie, he takes one too. What is wrong with this guy? Until finally, it's the last cookie in the box. And as she's reaching for the last cookie in the box, the guy sticks his hand in and takes the last one. Chutzpah, come on, right? She looks at him with such disgust in her eyes. Who does that? She takes the box, sticks it under the chair, takes her purse out to grab a tissue to wipe the crumbs from her mouth. She'd rather had more crumbs from more cookies. But as she opens her purse and sticks her hand inside, her fingers feel the top of a box, a closed box of cookies. She'd been eating from his box the whole time. She looks at him now, but very differently. It was because of the way that he looked, the clothes he was wearing. She thought maybe he was a little bit, I don't know, poor, couldn't afford his own cookies, must be stealing mine. That narrative, it surfaces again and again when we judge Jews that look different to us. It surfaces again and again when we decide that the sister-in-law we don't like, or that your mother-in-law, her intentions are sinister. Because you think that that's what she's trying to do. Get between you and your wife, you and your husband. She always does that. The narrative becomes the story instead of the story expressing the narrative. Open your eyes. See people without the preconceived notion. Don't trust yourself if you're constantly cynical of other people. If you open your eyes, you open your heart. And when you open both of those, you can see clearly into what is actually taking place. Shabbat Shalom.
All right, that's all for today's Good Week Israel. I hope that we've helped you start your week off with a smile. I'm Aaron Porras. See you next week.